What's going on, people? Welcome to the Player Rating Show. I'm joined by Tim here to discuss that 2-2 draw against Leicester at Selhurst Park. Disappointing, good point gained. We'll be looking at the individual performances, some new players featuring in this game, and more. As always, let us know your player ratings in the comment section down below. And just a quick disclaimer, today we won't have the graphics where you can see the name and the ratings due to technical issues. But we're still here, and we're going to be talking about the players and giving our ratings in front of the camera. Let's start off with Dean Henderson. Conceded 2 goals today, Tim. For the first goal, there's been a lot of conversation about what he can do, but let's start off with your rating. I gave him a 5.
Okay.
Maybe for the first goal, he could have done a bit better, but then again, I think we're going to be talking about the defense, so there's that point. Second goal was just crazy. I don't know, I think it's just a defensive breakdown. But for you,
I went 4.5, so very close, because I think on the first goal, he can come out a little bit stronger. But as we're going to see, I don't put all of that on Hendo. I just didn't think he had a strong enough game and this is the thing about Dean Henderson. I really like him, but there still needs to be some work between him and the back line. So far this season, at the end of last season, boy, they were really in sync, but not so far this season.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about the back line. Let's talk about it with Munoz, who got subbed off. I gave him a 6. He was open in the second half. Maybe you didn't see it on TV, but he was open quite a few times, and we just couldn't find him the ball. But when we did find him the ball, frustratingly, he was offside, and you could tell that he wasn't 100% fit. He did still try to get involved in terms of the goals conceded. I don't know if any of the goals, you can look at Munoz and say that he could have done better. As I said, the second goal was a bit messy. It was on the other end of the stadium, so it's really hard to say what happened. And even in Glasner's press conference, he did say that it was just, it wasn't good enough in terms of we should have just cleared it out. For you, Munoz, after the international break, do you think fatigue played a part and that's why he got subbed off?
Yeah, and I gave him a 6 also because I thought he was much better in the second half. He was enterprising, trying really hard to get forward. You're right. We couldn't see how open he was in the US broadcast. I didn't see him open all the time, but I did see him open a lot, and I did see when Ebbs dropped deep a few times, he found him, but they didn't find him nearly enough. And this was kind of the story of the Chelsea game too, where, he's open all the way out on the right consistently in that first half, and we just never find him. So this just tactically, there are some things to work on here, but yeah, 6.
Yeah. Nathaniel Klein, moving on to the 3 at the back, which we, of course, changed in the second half. He got subbed off. I gave him a 6. I don't know. Who was it? I can't remember who said this to me, and I do agree with them. But at times, he's a bit scared to get on the ball. But that's not his game. That's what I think anyways. That's not his game. But saying that, I mean, he had some good recovery runs, especially in the second half. But still, when Chalobah is fit, I still start Chalobah because Klein, look, he's played good in defense. I'm not putting anything away from him, taking anything away from him, but he's not a centre back. You had 1 or 2 moments where you could see that in the game as well.
Yeah, but he's a reliable backup. But I think we saw him get exposed as a starter here. I gave him a 5.5 because I thought today he was sloppy on the ball. He gave the ball away far too often, but you're right, especially in the second half. He has a great recovery run late in the second half. I don't remember who that was against, but he has a great recovery run that stops an attack late. So we get to see some of his quality late. But boy, he gave the ball away far too often. He's way too sloppy. Looked a little bit indecisive on that, in that right center back position. We just never really got going down the right. And that is in part, I think, because of Kleiny. And I will say, I know we're going to get to Lacroix, but when Lacroix moves into that position of right center back, you do notice a change. So 5.5.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about Lacroix, but before we do, let's move on to Gahey, which when we did talk about the first goal conceded, this was the player that I was talking about. Maybe Gahey could have done better. And I think you agreed with me, even the match reaction. Now, however, some people were talking about the goalie, but it just felt a bit too weak from him to allow Vardy in like that. I feel like he could have used
this communication
to try to put him off.
Yeah, I think it's miscommunication, D. Like, you have to be decisive. A player of that quality, well, I mean, we all know, I don't care that Jamie Vardy is 37. He is a player of exceptional quality. You know that he's going to be playing off you. You know he's going to be driving into the box. Somebody's got to make the call, and that is Mark's man. And because
Mm.
he doesn't make that call early, because he's not decisive, I think he puts Hendo in no man's land. Somebody has to make the decisive call. It's either Hendo says, I've got him. I'm coming out and commands the box and takes it away from him. And I mean, you're risking a penalty if you do that. So I think that is Mark's ball. And I think he's got to he's got to take him. The indecision there is what leads directly to that goal. That is the most avoidable goal I think we've had all season. So I
Yeah,
4.
yeah, I gave him a 5 because of that first goal. What about you?
Yeah, I gave him a 4. I thought he was shaky throughout the match. There were just too many times, like he was letting, for example, D, there's a couple of times he actually lets balls drop instead of comes in and coming over the top of the attacker and heading it out. It's just way less decisive than I have seen Mark in other games. So really surprising. I hope this is a one-off, but I gave him a 4.
Yeah, it was a great performance, especially sometimes in the first half. Even his passing, he just seemed off. It just seemed off. But
Yep.
saying that, just quick stats on him: 5 out of 9 aerial duels won, 89% passing accuracy, 82 touches, 7 out of 10 long duels completed as well. So it wasn't a awful performance. I think he could have done better with the defending. And also, Glasner did say in his press conference that Gahey's actually trained more with the England team than the Palace team because of his injuries. So
Mm,
even though he's not a new player, he's still adjusting to the system. So which
mm,
was a interesting observation, anyways, that I picked
yeah.
up from his press conference. Let's move on to our new player, Maxence Lacroix, who made his debut today. He changed positions, as you've mentioned as well. In the first
Yep.
half, he started down the left, and then second half, when Klein went off, he went to the right. I think in the second half, when he was on the right hand side, let us know in the comment section as well. I feel like he felt much more comfortable there in terms of defending and his distribution. In the first half, at times you could tell that he's still adjusting to the game, but I thought he was very good in the air. And you can look, he hasn't had a competitive game in a while as well.
Mhm.
So he's still adjusting, as Glass has mentioned as well. So with the defense, you're expecting one or two potentially errors, which we need to take out of our game. And Lacroix for the first goal, he was out of possession, but maybe because Wharton lost the ball. Second goal, as I said, there's a few players to look at rather than individuals. For you, what do you make of his debut?
I would say the same. There's a noticeable difference when he moves from left to right. When he moves to the right, he looks very comfortable. His pace serves him well. He plays arguably the best line breaking pass to Sar late in the second half. Terrific line breaking pass right down the right down the line. Fantastic. He looked great from the right, and he looked dicey on the left. So, I mean, I'll split the difference and say give him a straight 6, because if we play him in that right center back position, that'll be really interesting. The question is, if he's going to be a starter and Chalaba's going to come in, we know that Chalaba will play right center back. So does that mean that he goes central? He goes central and Mark goes left? I mean, we could certainly see that.
Yeah,
That could happen.
yeah.
Um,
Or
I
he
mean,
could,
that's
yeah. Or Chalobah maybe goes central. It just depends. It just depends. Let's
Yeah,
let's
it just
see what
depends.
Glasner does. Yeah,
Right.
because I
Either
think they
way,
can
that's
all
bad
rotate.
news for Richards, because I don't think,
Yeah, I think,
that's
yeah. And we
he's
need to fix the defense. And Glasner did say that his opinion is that it's more on the players rather than the system because he's
yeah,
looking at the situation that we're getting in. It's
yeah.
not like we're getting outrun in defense. It's not like we're facing 3 versus 2. And it's like the system is more about actually defending properly. We're not getting outnumbered on the counter. And
I think
that's
he's
the
right
thing.
about
It's
that.
not, it
Yep,
just hasn't been good enough. It hasn't been good enough defensively.
yep.
Last play in the defense, Tyreek Mitchell. Interesting game. Maybe crosses at times could be a bit better. But I did give him a 6. I thought it was
Yeah,
pretty
same.
average performance. Not nothing, anything great, nothing really bad. He had some moments, some good spells of trying to run forward and put the ball in the box. and he had some moments where his decision making could have been a bit better. But yeah, he did end up getting subbed off as well, which was a bit telling when Schlapp did come on about his performance.
Yeah, game of two halves, better in the second half. I think Hughes coming on made a difference for him. He gets a lot more space and he's driving forward. But the first half, I thought Ty was invisible. Second half, a little bit better. Some of his crosses were decent. 6 is best I can give him. I thought he was okay, but he's made a bigger difference in other matches we've seen, and this just wasn't a difference making performance.
Yeah, the midfield too. Now, we'll start off with Decore. He got injured, of course, got subbed off in the first half. Thought he
Yeah.
was having a good half till he got subbed off on the ball. But are you concerned about his injuries? I did give him a 6 because I did think that he was relatively good in the first half. But it's another injury. I believe it's a toe injury, so it's nothing major in terms of muscular, which is good.
Yep.
But it's another game. It's just frustrating that
I
he couldn't.
know.
He started, which was great, but he couldn't finish even the first half.
I know. It is frustrating. I'm glad that it seemed to be he just got stomped on and he just needed to he just needs to get some treatment and get that healed up. Um so that stinks. It just feels unlucky. I gave him a 6.5 because he was looking to get forward. He was he's checked to core. He's decent on the ball. I didn't think he was amazing. I did think we were sloppy in the midfield. Um, and we did get I'm not going to say outclassed, but there were too many second balls that we didn't get, particularly in the first half. And a lot of that happened in the midfield, and that was tough to swallow because
Yeah,
I've been waiting for that Decore Wharton, 2 to really take us forward, and you just didn't see it in that first half.
yeah. Even from Adam Walton, moving on to him now. I don't know. His first half was a bit too slow. I think as a team we were slow.
Yep.
In terms of my rating for the whole game, I did give him a 6. I don't know. Of course, he's had that injury problem. In the second half, he was a bit more on it, trying to make them forward passes. But in the first half, even with the first goal that we conceded, pretty much came from him. That's how we
Yeah.
started, from him losing the ball.
Right. Yeah. I gave him a 6.5 because of the second half, because in the first half, I did not like he was a little cheeky. I think he was trying to get a little too cute, which he does at times, giving the ball away, gave the ball away way too much. And he didn't look fully fit to me, D. But still, I gave him a 6.5 because once Hughes comes in, once he starts getting a little bit more comfortable, then he was playing the ball forward a lot more. He gets composed on the ball. He's holding it up a little bit better. So 6.5 for me, but nowhere near his best game.
Yeah, let's talk about Nketiah now. His debut, another debut today, and he looked exciting. We saw him essentially
Fantastic.
playing two positions as a number 10 and as a striker
Yeah,
alongside Mateta when Glasner did change the system. But I thought he was exciting. I thought he was exciting. You can tell, you
same.
could already see technically what he could offer on the ball, which is the main reason why I was excited about Nketiah coming to the football club. And especially in the second half, some of the first touches were great. He had a few opportunities as well. He looked lively, and he did say, by the way, that he hasn't really played 90 minutes of football. So for him, it's an adjustment because at Arsenal, just coming off the bench. But for me, I gave him a 6.5 today.
I'm giving him a 7.5, and the reason is because I love the directness. I love the pace. I love the way he's trying to combine. He came close. He has a shot. He gets a couple on target, and he's so close. The second shot, he's a millimeter. I don't know if you've seen the replays yet, D, but that second shot where he takes the angle coming from the right, and it's just if he goes like a
Yeah.
half an inch more, he gets the inside of the post, and we win, 3-2 once the with the penalty. So, man, he was terrific. I think his directness, his pace, his ability to combine, he's only going to get better. He's a very different threat than Michael Olise, so he's not a Michael Olise replacement, but he adds something that I think is going to be very, very useful for this team this season.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I think if he plays more 90 minutes of football, gets that consistent minutes under his belt, there's a player there. There is a player there.
No
He's not
question.
scrub like some people are putting him out to be. And I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it because it does look exciting. But yeah, tight margins, which could have changed the rating massively for me. But I was impressed from his debut. Eze now, who played as the number 10. First half, as I said, the whole team was slow. It wasn't good enough. Second half, he did try to get on the ball, make forward passes. But to be fair, I'm probably going to give him a 6.5 as well, same as Nketiah.
I
What
went
about you?
lower. I went lower. I said a 6 because I thought that Ebbs was okay, but he needs other players around him that are playing off him. Like if the combinations aren't working, his play is not working. He's not like no one should ever compare Eberici Eze to Wilfred Zaha. He is not the guy. He's a wonderful player, and I love him as a player. But Wilf would take the game by the scruff of the neck and just say, I'm sorry. I'm winning this match. And Ebbs rarely does that for us. I know he has that reputation when he was playing in the championship, and he just wasn't quite on it. I didn't think you know, as we're playing slow, he plays into maybe this is the way I'll put it, D. He plays into the rhythm that we are playing in. He doesn't necessarily change the rhythm. He plays into the rhythm. So if we're playing slow, he's
We'll play
playing
slow.
slow.
Yeah.
So I only gave him a 6.
And you need a player to kind of be that creative spark and change that.
Totally. And I think Nketiah can be that, by the way. JP is that sometimes. I think Adam Wharton can be that as well. And so can Czech Decore at his best.
Yeah.
So it's just like I love him, but today he wasn't at it. He wasn't at the races today.
Yeah. I think it's a fair point. It's a fair point to make. Moving on to the bench now. Will Hughes looked solid when he came on. Nothing bad about him. He's improved massively under Glasner. He was looking forward all the time in terms of his passing. I have nothing really bad to say about his performance. I'd probably give him 6.5. Maybe could give him a 7 on that appearance off the bench at halftime.
I gave him a 7.5 because I thought he was the most dynamic player for us in that second half. Yeah, all the attacks I said this during the match reaction. I thought all the attacks either started with him or played through him because he was finding space consistently in the middle of the park and moving the ball, and he was distributing it exceptionally well. So when Ebbs was better, Yuzi was putting him in positions. I thought it was great. Or Nketiah was putting him in positions. I thought Yuzi was terrific. When he doesn't have to deal with a player that can easily outpace him, Yuzi is very useful. Very useful. And he certainly was today. He looked terrific. I can see why Glasner rates him.
Yeah. And I mean, if Decore is out injured, it's good to have a player.
Yeah, we're going to need
like him to come into the side and carry. Because I think Decore is a level above and better.
I agree.
But Hughes is still good enough. He's still good enough to be playing in Premier League. Kamada, you came off the bench as well. Some people were upset about his performance off the bench. I don't know. I thought he was direct as well. What did you?
I thought he was great. Yeah, I thought. Look, he is looking to get forward and play passes into the box. That's what I want from him. He's looking to play passes into the box, and I thought he was very good getting out in the right channel, D, and trying to combine. They were building a little bit of a triangle there late in the second half, and he was right at the center of that. I thought he did a very good job looking for passes into the final third. I gave him a solid 6. I thought he really helped lift, bring some energy, bring some endeavor, and finally get us attacking a little bit more down that right side. I have no complaints. I thought Kamada was good.
Yeah,
6?
I gave him a 6 as well. I give him a 6 as well. Yeah, good performance off the bench, and it's good to have options like him off the bench as well because
Absolutely.
he can have a real impact. Sarr now talking about impact came off the bench. A lot of people are saying that they've been impressed by his performances. I give him a 7 for
I did
winning the
too.
penalty and the directness as well down the right hand side. And also we saw him play as a fullback, which a
Yeah.
lot of questions were asked whether Glasner would do that. But we'll talk about Glasner and his rating. But yeah, with Sarr, he won that penalty. Mateta, of course, slotted it in. Did we talk about Mateta?
We haven't yet, but we'll get to him. Don't
Yeah,
worry, we'll get to him.
we'll end it. We'll end it with Mateta. We'll end it with Mateta. Yeah, when it comes down to Sarr, I thought he had a real impact.
I did too. I gave him a 7. I thought he is rapidly becoming one of my favorite players in this side, and I like the way that Glasner is using him. He comes on, changes the pace, runs very direct, and we need that. We need players that are unafraid to get in the box, are going to run at the opposition and just cause absolute chaos. I thought it was terrific, and great penalty. It's a stone cold penalty. Absolutely rinses Connor Cody there. I don't feel bad for Connor Cody, but you could see he just knows that he got completely done. He
Yeah,
knew that he got done,
yeah,
and that's a stone cold penalty. And it changes the match. Changes the
yeah.
match completely.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we got a point. Otherwise, I didn't
Yeah,
really see us scoring a goal. And then Schlott, 5. That's all I have to say about him.
same.
That's nothing else to add. He wasn't on the pitch for long enough. And let's talk about Mateta, best to last, because he was my man of the match. I'll give him 7.5. Look, in terms of his performance, it wasn't a great team performance anyway. So move that aside. But the big thing is, big players, they come when they're called upon and then they deliver. Delivered with the
Mhm.
first goal straight after we conceded, and also the penalty. That's not easy. It's not an easy task. And once
He
again,
made
he
it look
scored as
easy
well.
though, D, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he did make it look easy. So for me, 7.5. Strikers, if they're not having a good performance, if they're not contributing in other areas of the game, which I don't think he was bad, by the way, but I don't think he
No.
was like excellent for anyone. But he still managed to score the goals today. So 7.5 is just unfortunate that we scored 2 goals and couldn't win the game.
Yeah, I gave him a 7. I wouldn't argue with him as man of the match because he gets the 2 goals. Um, and you know what? I'll go with you on man of the match there. I was tempted to go with Yuzi, but I can't do that for just a half. And I don't think I could do that for Nketiah because he doesn't get the goals. So I'll go with JP. With you on that. But I'm curious how it played in the park, D, because this is the other thing I like about Mateta. He he's a professional footballer, and we know that he was interested in maybe doing a transfer. Like he was interested in maybe going to a Champions League team. But
Yeah.
then the interview he gave with the Keep said like, "Hey, look, but that's over, and now I am a Crystal Palace player, and I am here to win as many games for Crystal Palace as possible." And you know what? He went out, left it on the pitch, gets 2 goals, and I'd be curious how this played in the park, D. There's a moment in which he says, "I need more from you." Like he's egging on the crowd.
Yeah,
How did
Nketiah
that
done that
play
as
in the
well.
park?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He did do that. He did do that. And
Did that play
well,
well in the park?
yeah, yeah, it did. Nketiah done it as well in the game. So yeah, I mean, it's good to see that his head hasn't been turned. There's
Right.
massive question marks about what's going on about his future and how is he going to take it. But yeah, it's fine for that new contract maybe, and
Yeah.
let's see if we give it to him. If he's continuing scoring goals, then I think we will. Just quickly, let's touch on Glasner. I don't know. It's very hard to give a rating because I don't think he done anything particularly bad with the lineup. In fact, he did change the system as well, which was good. He went more attacking. There isn't anything much that he could have really done. I thought it was more on the players rather than tactics. So I want to give him 7.5, but I can't give him any higher because when we were 2-0 down, even 2-1 down, like he made the changes, and yeah, I didn't have any problems with the lineup as well.
No, I give him a 7.5 as well. And the thing that makes me I'm not happy about this match. I am happy that we have a manager who will. I mean, it's all gas, no brake is not the way to describe it. It is the I am not okay with us losing to this squad in our home. I am throwing everything at this match. And we are if we lose this, then we will lose it leaving everything out on the pitch. I am not giving in. This is and he I love that we have a manager, D, that is after every match. There is no such thing as a free hit for Oliver Glasner. And I love that about him. So the subs I thought were well timed and very good, very aggressive, and showed that he does not accept that we don't give everything to win a match whenever we have the opportunity to do so. He's all in. And I really enjoy that. It was a
Yeah.
frustrating result, but I have zero beef with Oliver Glasner. I would love it if we could find a way to extend him because his belief and the way that he attacks games is what this team sorely needs. And
Yeah.
it's what I need, honestly, D. It's
It's
what
what
I
we all
need
need.
as a
It's what
fan.
we all need. You saw it with the subs. They were positive subs.
I know.
Nothing bad to say about them. Nothing bad to say about them. But thank you to every single one of you that's watched it. That's it for the player ratings. A lot of players, a lot of subs as well. So it went on a bit longer. As always, if you have enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and most importantly, let us know your ratings in the comment section down below. That's it from Tim